Back to the developer sessions here at EGX Rezzed. It's nice to see so many people in the room, and hello, of course, to everyone who's watching online. Do not forget, if you want to watch this session again later, you can catch up with it on YouTube. And now with that housekeeping out of the way, it's time for me to introduce my guest here to talk about Prey. Please welcome to the stage, Raphael Colantonio.
Hi, thank you.
Hi, Raph, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, well, thank you so much for joining us here. Of course, we are here to talk about Prey. You are the creative director at Arkane Studios. I'm just going to kick off with a question about immersive sims. What makes Prey a good fit for an immersive sim? Or I guess, rather, what makes immersive sims a good fit for something like Prey?
Often immersive sims are set in a confined area where you can really go deep on the crafting of the place and have the player explore every angle, and that's I think in the case of Prey that works out well for us because it's a space station, it's an enclosed area, it's all contiguous, and every place there's really a sense of place there where we can let the player explore and play the way he wants and just escape this place. So.
And of course, talking about the environment, Talos 1 is very much one of the main characters in Prey, from what I understand. Arkane, of course, is known for having very intricate level design. For example, the Clockwork Mansion in Dishonored 2 is like a very good example of the kind of level of detail that gets thrown in there. So I guess my question is, how does that design ethos carry over into Prey? What is it about Talos 1 that makes it a very Arkane environment?
Yeah, we went all the way back to the 60s to define the history of this place, and how from the 60s to 2033 things have changed, and how all the layers of the station was created and added little by little, and the different companies that owned it, and what happened in this place, and how the aliens invaded this place, etc. And every employee has its own little story, so we really went deep on creating all the environment and all the backstory of this place, so that when you explore it as a player, you really feel those layers, and hopefully you have this sense of being there.
Well, in that case, I think it's probably about time we see some of it in action. We've got a few minutes of gameplay. We've got a few gameplay clips, in fact. This is all new gameplay from what I understand. So
yeah, it's all gameplay.
If you're ready, let's take it away.
All right.
Other ways in, and you've always been good at improvising. I'm curious what you'll do. I think I know, but we'll see. chance he resented you. Unfortunate.
All right, well, I think it's always a sign of a good gameplay demo when the first thing you do is turn into a flame-spewing robot. That's really quite impressive, though. One of the things I noticed in that gameplay clip is that your companion, January, kind of talking to you over the radio, identifies the Typhon that was in the room as the director whose office it was. Could you just sort of tell us a bit about that and kind of how it seemed like the relationship you had with the character kind of crossed over into how they were as an enemy almost?
Well, in this case, those are called the Phantoms, and they used to be human, and so every human on the space station is referenced on a system called the roster, like where you see all the employees and their functions, and so some of them are still alive, most of them are dead, and some of them there's still a corpse on the floor, but some of them have been turned into phantoms by the Typhon. And so when you kill them, you can find their belongings and remaining of whatever they used to be.
And there is talk about there was a line referencing the kind of relationship you have with the director, and of course immersive sims, they tend to live and die on the characters in the world,
right,
and the kind of interactions you have with them. Could you tell us a bit about some of the figures you'll meet around Talos 1 and kind of the way things can go with them?
Yeah, so you find out that as you play this game, you were somehow part of this space station as an employee yourself, and even very high in the hierarchy, and so you have somewhat a relationship with most of those people that you're going to meet, and some of them are still alive. We have some interesting ones that are going to cause some decision-making to you. There's a crazy cook, for example, that is going to ask you to do things for him. And all along, it's your choice if you want to help them or just kill them as you see them or ignore them. And all those mini decisions that you make will lead to some different endings at the end.
And of course, to go back again to turning into a flame-spewing robot, the kind of the engineering overseers, is that the right name for them?
They are engineer operators.
Operators, forgive me. But I noticed that one of them at the very beginning was corrupted, so the Typhon threat isn't solely just restricted to the humans on the station, it also affects the machinery as well.
Right, yeah, there's one type of alien that is called a telepath, the technopath actually, there's also the telepath, but the technopath corrupts machines, so turrets and also operators, like any of those flying bots that you see, among some other powers that they have, and so at some point you can also acquire that power yourself and start controlling robots.
Okay, all right. Well, if it's all right with you, I think maybe we should move on to the second gameplay clip and see what else the game has in store for us.
Not surprising. You found another way in. Well done. A lot of the station tech starts here. Lab equipment, special parts requests, prototypes. We should be able to fix your looking glass terminal from Dr. Calvino's workshop. That side of the lab was breached. Hard vacuum, no gravity. There's an exterior airlock in the machine shop you could use to reach him.
Aperture cleared. Operator deployment resuming.
Welcome. Maybe I can help you.
90.
Diagnosing bruising, abrasions, fatigue. Nothing life-threatening. This won't take long.
Found you. You're done. Back, dude. Your problem found. Running time. Found you. Running diagnostic sensors. Found you. No parts left. Radio circuit. Found new instructions. Don't worry, I won't disassemble you until I'm sure.
Every airlock has a manual seal you'll have to disengage before you can spacewalk. While engineered as a safety measure, it's irrelevant when the enemy is already inside the station. If you do go out there, It wouldn't stray far. The Typhon may have spread to the exterior. And remember, other airlocks you find will have to be opened from the inside first. Looks like you've already got a propulsion system, so you should be fine maneuvering. screens are online again. Head back to your office as soon as you can. It's important you hear the rest of your message.
Well, there's so much to unpack from that second clip. I almost don't know quite where to begin. Now, obviously, that area that we just saw was completely crawling with enemies, but it felt like it was a long time before the player actually fired a shot. And of course, Arkane games are are all about giving players the choice of having different play styles. Could you just talk about some of the sort of the breadth of options that you have with the different powers and gadgets and what have you?
Yeah. Yeah, for us, it's really creating a space of possibilities where all these, the quests or whatever you have to do, they are set up in a coherent way, and they rely on the simulation as well. So we give all those tools to the player, and really some of the solutions that the player come with, we don't even necessarily think of, right? So some of them we encourage, like at some point we've seen the player turning into an object so that he could actually sneak through the opening of a security booth, right?
Sure.
But sometimes the level designers or the architects have done an environment that without thinking that the player could do that. All right? So that happens too, which is really fun for us to see players doing their own things. So we have, it's a space station, so we have some weapons. It's not very heavy on weapons, and some of it for us was deliberate. We want the players to, this is a survival game, right? There's a lot of it is scavenging, crafting stuff. We've seen the fabricator and the recycler. So these are two objects that are very important to the game where there's not much ammo on board of the station, so you have to really choose what you sacrifice, and if you want to create a medkit or instead ammos or any object actually that is on board of the available on the station, you can fabricate as long as you find the fabrication plan for. And you also have, so you have a few gadgets. We've seen in the demo, we've seen the recycler charge actually, which is a portable version of the recycler, which has the side effect of being very damaging. Of course, initially it was invented to clean a room and recycle your stuff, but if you use it on aliens, it can recycle them, and you can recycle yourself if you want. So we've seen those. We've seen the lure grenade, which is something to attract the Typhon organism to a specific area, and then you can, once they're attracted somewhere, you can do one of your powers. We saw I think it was the kinetic blast that we saw. And those powers, you get them from the aliens themselves. So whatever you see the aliens do, you can actually learn and give it to yourself by using a resource in the game called neuromods. And I don't think we've seen exactly how it works, but it's a little device that you plug into your eye, and it's something that they develop on board of the station. So that feeds into our RPG system.
But of course, using the alien powers has consequences, right? Like it can call down, big versions of the Typhons and.
Right. So you can or cannot choose to get powers, but you probably will get powers because they're fun. But the more alien powers you have, the first consequence is that the turrets that initially are on your side are now your enemies because they detect that you as part of the alien ecology somehow. And then there's another consequence is that as you become more and more alien, the Typhon on board of the station detect that as their awareness is triggered, and they develop a bigger alien that is called the Nightmare that we've seen in some other videos previously. And this alien is basically a giant assassin that is going to hunt you.
Speaking about the machines in particular, the turret sensing that you've kind of got, alien powers. I did notice that even though you're using alien powers in the demo, the medical operator is still happy to heal you. Is it just the turrets that turn against you, or does the system kind of gradually?
Right. No, it's the turrets because the turrets are the function of the turrets is to prevent aliens from escaping containment. So they were programmed for that.
So players won't be punished too harshly if they do take on the powers. It's still supposed to be fun. I guess.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I guess. A big question for me about Prey, obviously, Prey is coming off the back of Dishonored 2, and of course the Dishonored community is very much about using powers and the environment to traverse the environment in unexpected ways and almost break the game. Is that something you're hoping for with Prey, and how do you envisage that's going to go, effectively? Are you looking for high-skill runs?
Yeah, absolutely. Breaking our games is always something that we encourage the players to do. So we really we give them all the tools to do that, really, and we find a lot of ways to break the game ourselves as we play the testers. And when we say break the game, it's not like meant in a way that is not fun for the players, where they just, oh, there's a bug. It's not that. It's more piling different powers or different systems together and letting the simulation reach to a situation that was not really expected by us, the designers, right? And so it's like kind of like exploiting the systems really to the advantage of the player, which is part of playing your own way. And it also makes you feel like you've done, you have this aha moment where you kind of fool the developers in a way, which is really fun.
Sure. Well, talking of encouraging players to be creative with their powers and their abilities, I believe we have a trailer showing off some of the combinations that can be utilized by players. So when you're ready, I think we'll switch to that.
Sure.
Now it's time to beat the mind game. Now it's time to beat the mind game. Now it's time to beat the mind game.
Wow. I love the Huntress Boltcaster, by the way. I think the idea of having a dart gun in your game is absolutely fantastic. Just one last question before we get closed out. What is your favorite power in Prey?
Well, I could say the Mimic, but I'm not going to say that. I actually like the one we saw in the video for briefly. It's called the Shift power. So it allows you to move in any direction, forward, backward, or sideways, and leave a decoy, leave a fake version of yourself at the same time. So that's a pretty nice, all-integrated combo right there.
Fantastic. Well, listen, Raph, thank you so much for joining me on stage and for showing off Prey. And thank you, of course, to everyone in the room and everyone watching online. Don't forget, this session will be available on YouTube. One thing I should say, if you want to come to the next session, which I believe is Divinity Original Sin 2, you will need to leave the room and queue up again. But before you do that, please give a very warm round of applause for Raph. Thank you so much.
Thank you.